You're watching the Weiss channel. Dot. Today, I'm going to talk to you about simplifying radicals. Okay. All right. Here we go. All right. We're going to look at this first one here. Square root of 18. Here's what you're going to do. You're going to break down 18. All right. What do I mean? I mean 18 is 2 times 9. And then what's 9? 9 is 3 times 3. So what do you have? You have 2 times 3 times 3. Okay? And that's what's in the square root. What you do is now you circle the pairs. All right? You have a pair here. 3 times 3. All right? You circle that and you make that into just 1 3. Okay, because 3 times 3 is 9, and the square root of 9 is 3, and that's what you're doing. Okay, so you take that out, you take a pair and you take it out of the square root, and you wind up with just 3 square root of 2. The 2 just stays in the square root. The pair comes out and the 2 stays in, and that is your simplified answer. Okay. So now let's look at number 2, 5 square root of 18. Now I'm going to have you recall that the square root of 18 is 3 square root of 2, right? Okay. So all you're doing with 5 square root of 18 is you're just going to multiply 5 times 3. So your answer is going to be 15 square root of 2. And you're done with that. Okay. So let's look here. 4 times square root of 216. All right. You're going to break down 216. All right. That is 2 times 108. Okay. This is 2 times 54. Okay. This is 2 times 27. All right. That is 3 times 9. And 9 is 3 times 3. So what do you have here? You have 4 times the square root of 2 times 2 times 2 times 3 times 3 times 3. Okay. So what do? You circle the pairs. There's a pair of 2s and there's a pair of 3s. Okay. So that's 2 and that's 3. Okay. So what is 2 times 3? 2 times 3 is 6. So what do we have now? We now have 4 times 6. And what's left in the square root? This 2 and this 3, which is square root of 6. Okay. What's 4 times 6? 24. So you have 24 square root of 6. That is your simplified answer. Okay. Look over here. We're going to break down 75. Okay. 75 is 3 times 25. 25 is 5 times 5. So what do you have? You have the square root of 3 times 5 times 5. What do? We circle the pair. Okay. And that just becomes 5. Okay. So you have this 2 times the 5. So you have 2 times 5, and you're left with square root of 3, or just 10 square root of 3 will be your simplified answer. Okay. Now, let's look at this. Here, you're not allowed to have a square root in the denominator. Okay. So here's what we do. We multiply by square root of 3 over square root of 3. Because square root of 3 over square root of 3 is 1. You can multiply anything by 1 and you still have the same answer. What do you have? Your answer is now 1 square root of 3, or you can write the 1 or not, okay? Over square root of 3 times square root of 3 equals 3, right? And that's your answer. You can have a square root on top. You just can't have it on the bottom. Why? I don't know. But that's your answer. Okay. Why is square root of 3 times square root of 3 equal to 3? Because square root of 3 times square root of 3 equals square root of 9, and square root of 9 equals 3, right? So square root of 3 times square root of 3 is 3. So over here in number 6, what are we going to do? Well, we're going to multiply this by square root of 7 over square root of 7, because that gets rid of the square root in the denominator. Okay, so your answer is just going to be 3 square root of 7 over 7, and you're done. That is your answer, where you do not have a square root in the denominator. All right, now check this out here. All right, 4 over square root of 20. If you can break down this square root, do that first, okay? So I'm going to break down square root of 20. In fact, I'm going to do that here. Just look at this here. I'm going to take square root of 20, okay? That's going to be square root of 2 times 2 times 5, okay? And again, I'm going to circle the pair, okay? So that's going to make 2 square root of 5, all right? Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to say that this is equal to 4 over 2 square root of 5, okay? So now what I'm going to do is I can simplify here. What do I mean? I mean 2 and the 4 cancel. 2 goes into 2 once, 2 goes into 4 twice. So I have 2 over square root of 5, okay? But of course, you can't have a square root in the denominator, right? So what do we have to do now? We have to multiply by square root of 5 over square root of 5. What do I get? I get 2 square root of 5 over 5. And that is my final answer. Okay. So over here, okay, I'm going to break down 27. Okay. In fact, here's 27. Square root 27. That's going to be square root of 3 times 3 times 3. Okay. So I'm going to take out the pair, and that's going to give me 3 square root of 3. Okay. So now what I have is I'm going to rewrite this as 6 over 3 square root of 3. All right. What happens? What happens here is I can cancel. 3 goes into 3 once. 3 goes into 6 twice. Okay. So what do I have now? Now I have 2 over 1 times square root of 3. But once again, I can't have a square root in the denominator. So I do times square root of 3 over square root of 3. And I get 2 square root of 3 over 3. Okay. By the way, this 3 and this 3 cannot ever cancel. You can't cancel a square root with a whole number. You've been watching the Weiss channel. That.